I'm Charlie Garcia. This is Capital Mischief coming to you from Rome. The Middle East signed a ceasefire last week. Let me tell you what they actually signed because they didn't sign peace. They signed a clock. That's it, a clock, a 60-day clock with the uranium problem. And we're all standing around it pretending it's a treaty. That's what governments do. They take a thing, they give it a name, that's the opposite of the thing. Department of Defense. They actually mean offense. Affordable Care Act. Not affordable, doesn't care. Patriot Act. Read it. It's not patriotic. And now, Middle East Peace Framework. There's no peace. There's no framework. There's a piece of paper and a calendar and a prayer. They signed it June 17. Trump was at Versailles eating with Macron. That's the president of France. Iran's president signing somewhere else. Qatar, Pakistan were holding the pens. You know, it's a real deal when the two main parties can't be in the same room. That's not diplomacy. That's a custody arrangement. Then Monday, Treasury issued the oil waiver, 60 days until August 21st. Iran gets to sell oil again, sell petrochemicals, sell whatever the hell they want for 60 days. And in return, we get, wait, let me check my notes, nothing. We get nothing yet. We get promises from the government of Iran. That's like getting fitness advice from cake. Now, here's the language part. Pay attention, because this is where they get you. Washington isn't calling it a concession. They're calling it a confidence-building measure. Confidence-building measure. Say that out loud. Confidence-building measure. That's what your contractor says. When he's been on the job 4 months and he hasn't finished your bathroom. We had a war 8 weeks ago about this country's nuclear program, and now we're building confidence like it's a junior high school class gym. Here's what they actually did. They gave Iran the thing Iran wanted right now, today. The oil, the billions of dollars, the signing ceremony. And we get, maybe at some point, inspections, verification, good behavior, like a dog. We gave them everything they wanted today for the promise of good behavior tomorrow. That's not a negotiation. That's the worst deal since the Native Americans took Manhattan for 60 guilders, all right? And at least that one was final. Here's something you can actually use, because I'm not here to make you mad. You can make yourself mad. You're an adult, so write this down. August 21st. That's when the oil license runs out. That's when somebody has to actually do something, or we're back in a shooting war. Forget every news segment between now and then. It's all noise, all of it. The only thing that matters is August 21st. Put it on your phone, write it down, put it on your fridge. Set 2 alarms, one in your phone, one in your kitchen. Now that's the deal. Now, the disagreement. Trump says Iran agreed to inspections. Quote, infinity. Infinity. That's the word he used. A grown man with the nuclear codes negotiated a deal with a country that wants a nuclear bomb and described the inspections as infinity. That's not a foreign policy. That's a 5-year-old arguing on the playground. Meanwhile, Iran says we agreed to nothing. So one side thinks they got infinity inspections. The other side thinks they got 0 inspections. Those are not similar deals. One of those numbers is much bigger than the other. J.D. Vance, our vice president, and I'm not making this up, will have to wait and see what Iran lets the inspectors do. Wait and see. That is the sound a man makes when he has signed a piece of paper he can't enforce. That's what your cousin says when he borrows your truck. We'll have to wait and see what he lets you do with it. This is the centerpiece of the deal, and it's empty. It's a beautiful piece of paper wrapped around nothing. Now they get the oil because oil doesn't lie. Oil doesn't do press releases. Oil heard the news and oil stopped screaming. Crude fell 3%. Now we're down to 70. We're below 70, lower since March, okay? Markets don't have feelings. Market are not journalists. They're not pundits. They're not your brother-in-law. Markets are raccoons with calculators. And the raccoons looked at the deal and said, okay, tankers can move. We'll take it. 75 ships a day are now getting through Hormuz. In April, it was 0. Normal is 130 a day. So we're still messed up, but we're not bleeding out. Here is why Iran signed the deal. This is the part nobody on TV is going to tell you. Before the U.S. blockade in April, Iran was selling 1.5 million barrels a day. By May, 260,000. They didn't run out of grievances. They ran out of grievances. All right? Grievances are renewable. They're solar powered. They ran out of money and the regime needed oxygen. So we gave them oxygen for a uranium stockpile nobody can find. Now I have to slow down here because this is the part that's not funny. This is the part that's the actual problem. The last time inspectors counted, Iran had 441 kilograms of uranium enriched to 60%. 60% is a very short walk to 90. 90 is what's in a bomb. That much material fully enriched is about 10 bombs, okay? In the days before the strikes, satellites watched Iran move it deeper into the tunnels under Isfahan. When the bombs came, they hit the buildings. The uranium had already left. The inspectors hadn't been inside the site for months. Cameras were off. The seals were broken. The agency now says, I'm writing. They don't know the size. They don't know the composition. They don't know where it is. They use this phrase, continuity of knowledge. That's inspector knowledge for we used to know where the uranium was. Now we don't. So when somebody tells you inspectors are going back, that's a plane ticket. That's all that it is. It's not verification. It's tourism. Trump says infinity inspections. Iran says no inspections. In between those two sentences is enough material for 10 bombs in a tunnel in the dark. And we just gave them their oil money back. Lebanon, quick, because we have to. Iran wrote Lebanon into the deal. Hezbollah protection, Israeli withdrawal, the whole package. There's one little problem. Israel didn't sign the deal. Why? Because Israel was not at the table. We built a peace, and the most violent border in the deal is held by a country that wasn't invited the day that we were signing. Israel killed 2 people on the southern border of Lebanon. So that's where the peace is. That is the peace right there on the ground. Now, the Gulf. Rubio, Secretary of State, is in the Gulf this week telling him everything is fine, which is what you say when everything is on fire, all right? The doctor never walks in and goes, everything is fine. You only hear everything is fine when everything is the opposite of fine. The Gulf countries read the actual deal, not the press release, the deal. The deal has a $300 billion reconstruction fund for Iran. The deal sets 0 limits on Iran's ballistic missiles. 0. The thing we went to war to take away is not in the deal. And Trump now calls taking those missiles away unfair. All right. So this is totally screwed. Look, pure BS. That's what this is. You fought a war to take a thing away, and now you're calling it unfair to take it away. Well, what was the war for then? All right. Was the war a photo op? Was the war so somebody could say we had a war? Because that's what it looks like. All right. Take home value. The reason you're here, because I'm not here just to yell, you can yell at home. It's cheaper. Here's 3 things you walk away with. Number 1, watch the gas pump, not the news, the pump. The pump knows things the anchors don't. All right. Gas keeps drifting down through July. The deal is alive. If gas spikes 30 cents in a week, the deal's a corpse. You will see it at the pump before any reporter says a word. Okay. And remember that Trump just put out on True Social yesterday that he wants to go after the oil companies for price gouging. So he really needs the price of oil down because we have a midterm election coming up. Number 2, what am I doing with my money? I'm not a financial advisor. I'm certainly not yours. I don't know you. I don't know your life. I don't know what to know, okay? This is what's in my account, okay? A shaky ceasefire is BS for oil long term. Up, not down, because Iran will eventually break a turn. That's what they've always done. That's their hobby, all right? And Hormuz traffic is still 80% below normal, even though it's going up. So I own oil companies like Canadian Natural Resources, Exxon, Chevron, Cheniere. I owned them when oil was in the 60s. I'll own them again when oil is in the 90s. I'm not trading the headline. I'm holding the asset. I also am buying more gold, more silver. They're down because the dollar is up. And gold and silver love this kind of mess. And we have a couple of months where it could be weak. Now, central banks have been buying gold for 3 years. 3 years buying gold, hand over fist. You think they know something? I think they know something. Number 3, the August 21st plan. 2 weeks before that date, the market will start moving. If the deal looks alive, oil will be going down. If the deal looks dead, oil will be ripping. You don't have to predict which one. You just have to be ready when it happens. Not researching tickers at midnight, ready. That's the take home. A date, a signal, and a few trades. Better than 90% of what your broker tells you. Now look, the truth about this deal, Washington did not buy peace. Washington rented quiet. The war didn't end. It got refinanced for 60 days. The Middle East didn't become peaceful. It became scheduled, and the bill comes due August 21st. All right, 2 things, and I let you go. If you got value out of the last 7 minutes, hit subscribe right here. It's free. It's 1 click. It tells the algorithm this mattered, and the algorithm has the IQ of a houseplant. It can't read. It can only count. So give the houseplant something to count. And if you want the full picture, the trades, the names, the entry plan, the whole briefing with the receipt, that's on my Substack, Capital Mischief. Link is right under the video, or you can just hyperlink it with the QR code that you see on the screen. Right now, there's a guy from Morgan Stanley shoving 6-month-old research through a slot in the door and charging you 1% of everything you own for the privilege of eating it. You're not a client. You're a mail order goldfish. Capital Mischief is the door. The door is $2 a day. You spent more than that on a cold brew this morning that you let go warm in your cup holder, and then you threw it away. All right? So subscribe to the channel, go to Substack, mark August 21st on your calendar, and do something fun. Don't do something expensive and stupid, chasing a 60-day ceasefire. Stay patient, stay alert, stay allocated. I'm Charlie Garcia. This is Capital Mischief. May the mischief be with you.